All right, so it's February 16th, 2026. I'm in the local graveyard. I like coming down here. It's nice and quiet and peaceful. And I just wanted to make this video talking about my experience lately. I've been doing a lot of Joe Dispenza meditations, a lot of Joe Dispenza type meditations from other people, and just taking a real hard look inwards at what's going on beneath the skin in my mind, in my heart, and letting go of limiting beliefs, looking at trapped emotions, envisioning the life I want. And I don't want to come on here and act like I'm the expert and that you should listen to me. That's why I always try to say the date in these videos, because I want this channel to be really like a record of this journey. I feel like there's a lot of people online that act like they're perfect and their mind is right and their emotions are awesome and they just live this awesome life, and they're giving all this advice, but the advice really isn't good advice. It's not really accurate because they're not embodying what they're talking about. It's easy to just go online and just listen to some interviews on Joe Dispenza and then just parrot it and tell other people, what you've heard. And it's a totally different thing to embody that, to actually do the work and then go out and say, this is how I've changed. This is the improvements I've made in my life. Let me help you how to do that. And that's what I want this channel to be. I want this channel to be what I've learned, the experiences I've had, how I've grown, and just let this be a document to my growth and to help other people and to show other people the way, really be a trailblazer, in my own life, and then inspire other people to do the same. I want to master the content and then be able to teach that content, teach what I have learned myself. And so, this video is going to be, me talking, because last week I made a video talking about how my dad died suddenly when I was 12 years old. And, I grew up very religious, and I believed in a God that was loving and caring. And, then to have my dad die suddenly, it was very jarring. It was just like, boom, he was there 1 second and then he was gone. And to have that happen to you when you're that young and that impressionable, it's a huge shift in energy. It's a huge shift in identity. Your whole world is rocked. And it made me just kind of really angry because, I believed in this loving God that would take care of me. If I just prayed and worshiped this God, then it would love me and give me great things. And then to just have my dad get ripped out of my life, it was like, what the heck, man? Like, this is so unfair. Like, God must just hate me. Like, I must be just different, or there must be something wrong with me if God would do this to me. And I want to make this video just to kind of help other people who might be going through similar things. I know there's people, everyone has a different story. Everyone's been through crap in their life, man. No one makes it out unscathed. So I just want to kind of share my experience, what's helped me, what I'm working on right now, to make sense of that. Because after something horrible happens in your life, if you are brought up religious, it's kind of like it leaves you very confused, very angry, very sad. And so I just want to share my experience. Again, I'm not an expert in this, but I just felt compelled to make this video. So yeah, just to, recap what I talked about in last week's video. I had two loving parents growing up, two younger brothers, an older sister. We had a nice house, a very stable family unit, and I loved my dad. He loved me. He was a good father. And, we went to church basically like every single Sunday as a family. We'd sit in the very front row. We'd sing choirs, we'd listen to the pastor talk about God and all these stories from the Bible and just how loving God was. And, I prayed literally. It was because I grew up with obsessive compulsive disorder, and I still have it to this day. It's one of the reasons that I started doing Joe Dispenza meditations recently. So growing up with obsessive compulsive disorder, I could not eat a meal or go to bed without praying. I just felt like it was something I had to do. And so I would always, in my prayers, I would always try to make them at least 30 seconds to a minute. I'd I'd bow my head, sometimes I'd close my eyes, I'd cross my fingers, and I'd say, on my head, I'd say, dear Lord, thank you for this food that I'm about to eat. Thank you for my family that loves me. Thank you for this nice house. Thank you for all that I have. Thank you for the clothes. Thank you for, a nice neighborhood. And I would say all these things, and I don't know if I would really feel into it. I think it was more so, it was just what I had been programmed to do. I had been programmed to believe from the church that you just pray, you don't think about it, you just do it because that's what God wants. And I think as a young child, I didn't really understand what I was doing, but I just knew that's what I was supposed to do. And I think it was my way, maybe subconsciously, of like appeasing God, making sure God loved me. Like if I didn't pray, then God wouldn't love me, and something bad would happen to me. Maybe that's what I was thinking. So I would literally pray like all the time. And again, I wouldn't really like feel into the prayers. I wouldn't really feel into what I was saying. It was just more so just like an autopilot. But regardless, I went to church, I prayed, I believed in God. I believed that there was a God up in the clouds that was this white guy with a beard, and he was, loving, and, was the creator of everything, and he was my God. He was, I was a Protestant Christian. That's what my family was. And, that kind of just went on throughout my childhood. And then when I was 12 years old, one night in February 10th, 2005, my dad, who worked Monday through Friday, and then he'd come home at night and we'd have dinner together. One night he just, he didn't come home. And instead of him coming to the door that night, the pastor of my church and a police officer came and basically told my family that my dad had died at work that day. He had a massive heart attack. It was very unexpected, very sudden. There were no warning signs, and he was just gone. And so I'd seen him that morning before I went to school. I said, bye, Dad, I love you. I'll see you when I get home tonight. And he just never came home. And it was extremely jarring to me. I was incredibly angry. I was incredibly scared. I was incredibly sad. But I just kind of buried all these emotions because I was very uncomfortable crying around people. And my mom was sobbing that night uncontrollably, and I was still just processing it. It was just such a huge shock to my system. And, we had his wake a couple days later, and then we had his funeral at our church, the same church we went to every single week. And, I was up in the front row again, except this time, instead of praying to God and saying how awesome God is, I was mourning the death of my father, who was basically like my whole world at that point. And I was just angry. I was just angry. And I was sad and I was scared because my dad was the only one in my family working. So where was money going to come from now? How are we going to provide for ourselves? Obviously, I was sad. I was incredibly sad that he was gone. I would never get to see him again. That was just a thought I just couldn't wrap my head around. And then there was just immense just anger that this happened to me. It just felt so unfair. I pray to you, God, all the time. I worship you. Why did you do this to me? Those were kind of, I think, the thoughts that were going through my head. And it's hard because, I was 12 years old and my mind was still forming. My hormones were going crazy. I was going through puberty, and it was just an awkward time. And there was a lot of shame too. There was a lot of shame because there's all eyes on you at that funeral. It was a packed house, standing room only, like friends, family, neighbors, coaches, karate instructors. Everyone was in that church just staring at us, expecting me to cry. And I didn't want to cry because I just did not like crying around people. So I just buried all these emotions. And, I've been doing a lot of Joe Dispenza meditations, and Joe Dispenza is a leader in manifestation and law of attraction and processing emotions and creating your dream life. And what he talks about a lot is that when you have a very shocking moment happen to you, or a very traumatic thing happen to you in your life, you almost like your body like stores those emotions and your body almost becomes addicted to them. They become like your personality. So, you know, some people walk around who are just miserable, and you ask them, oh, why are you so miserable? And it's like, oh, well, you know, this person screwed me over 20 years ago and I could never forgive them, or life's just been so unfair to me and I'm just a miserable person because of it. And we become addicted to these low vibrational energies of anger, fear, sadness, and they become our identity. They become our personality. And so, you know, growing up, after my dad died, my personality was one of, you know, a lot of anger. I was an angry kid, and I rebelled a lot, and I didn't like society. I didn't like people. I had a weird relationship with people. I always just kind of felt different. I felt kind of like an outcast, and a lot of people were my enemy, and organized things were kind of, I didn't really agree with them. Like, I was still, you know, we still went to church a little bit after my dad died, and I just started, you know, questioning a lot of things, and I was very just kind of confused, and I wasn't processing these emotions. They were still just kind of trapped in my body. And as I got older, I started, you know, just questioning more and more religion and God. What is God? What am I? Who am I? You know, what is this dream that we're in? You know, in college, I did a lot of personal development. I got introduced to the law of attraction and visualization and meditation, and I just started really kind of, because I was just so sick of like who I was. I was so sick of being angry and feeling like the victim. I really felt like life was just unfair and life was unsafe and that God did not love me. Those were kind of the beliefs that I carried throughout my life. And, you know, I'm 33 years old now, and I've been aware of these beliefs for a while, and I've done a lot of work around them, but they're so like deep seated, and they're so like deeply ingrained, and it's hard to know just the scope of how deep our emotions go, like how much emotion is trapped in our body. I mean, because there's some energy workers that I've seen who have told me that, you know, we all have past lifetimes and we carry sadness and anger and pain over into this realm from past lifetimes, you know. So do I have thousands of past lifetimes of pain and anger and sadness that are inside me now? You know, I don't know. That's one theory. It's kind of an interesting theory. I guess it's possible. But, you know, right now in my life, like the reason I started this YouTube channel was I want to document this growth that I'm going through, because I really do feel myself changing. Like, I'm taking this work so seriously now. Like, I just want a shift in my life so bad. And I've been doing personal development for the last 13 years, but I'm getting like so serious about it right now. And so lately, you know, I've been doing a lot of Joe Dispenza meditations where you close your eyes and you get your brain waves nice and relaxed through, you know, deep breathing and meditation. And then you start to envision a life that you want. You envision your dream life, how you look, how you act, how you feel. You envision yourself wherever you want to be, whether that's on a beach as a millionaire, you know, or singing in front of thousands of people at a concert. You know, what do you want out of this life? Who do you want to be? Close your eyes and dream and just envision who that version of you is and how that feels to be that person, and do that until you feel the emotions of that. And your mind is so objective, it does not know the difference between the emotions you're feeling right now in your waking life and the emotions you feel when you close your eyes and dream those dreams. So I've been doing a lot of that, and I've had some interesting things happen, and I do feel myself changing. And I felt compelled to make this video because I'm basically learning to trust God, right? Because whatever you think God is, that's your kind of, whether you're aware of that or not, we all have some sense of a God, right? For some people are Muslim, Jewish, Christian, whatever. They all kind of point to this energy, this source, this force of life that is in control of everything around us. You know, I don't really study religions much, but in Christianity, yeah, it was Jesus. Jesus was kind of the king, and then his father was God Almighty. And now I'm at a point in my life where I really don't know what God is, right? There are a lot of theories that I've heard that kind of interest me. Like there's this theory that we are all God. We are a fraction of God. We all have God inside of us, and everything around us is God. Like there is nothing that is not God. Even evil, even Satan, even hatred, even these horrible things are all a form of God, and we are just interacting. We are God interacting with itself. And I find that to be a fascinating theory, and I have kind of gotten glimpses of that through my meditation over the years. I've had glimpses of just pure bliss where, yeah, I just felt like I am not Ross. Like I was like just total life. I was just energy. I was just reality. I was everything. And it was just some of the most beautiful moments of my life. And so, but because I grew up religious, I went to church every freaking week. And that's a lot of programming. That's a lot of religious programming. And again, I'm not hating on organized religion, man. I understand why organized religion exists, because if you don't have any source, if you don't have any sense of a God, life can seem like a really scary place. Like it can feel very alone. You can feel very lonely, alone, isolated. Like I've experienced glimpses of that before. It's a terrifying thing. And we've created God to give us a sense of, understanding of this life, because there's no blueprint, man. Look around. Like, do you see a chalkboard in the sky with instructions on what life is and how to be a good person? No, there's nothing, man. We are just dropped into this reality with no clue who we are, what's going on, anything. We are just kind of left to figure it all out. And that's one of the things that makes life so fascinating, but it's one of the things that makes life so terrifying at the same time. And so we create God to kind of create this order and structure and a sense of right and wrong and belonging, and oh, you're loved. You're not just this random thing that has no, because we're human beings, man. We want love. We want to feel. That's why children crave love. They crave touch. They crave that emotional connection with a father and a mother. All animals do. We all need that as, at some point in our lives. And so we as humans, we created a God to feel like we have this sense of love, like we're not alone in this universe. And so I understand, I'm not hating on religion, but religion does have its flaws. And for me, growing up, being brought up religious, I just felt like I was being programmed to believe that there was this thing out there that was separate from me, and it was punishing me by like killing my father, essentially. And after that, all the bad things that happened to me, all the other traumas that I experienced in my life, and there are a few that I'll talk about in other videos, but all those horrible things that happened to me, those were all God's fault. And my mind just went to, okay, God's punishing me for whatever reason. God doesn't love me. God, I'm different. I'm unworthy of love. All these things, whether they're valid and true or not, those were the thoughts that I kind of just deeply ingrained in my body growing up. And so here we are, 2026, I'm 33 years old, and I'm just now like really starting to take it seriously, man, because I'm just sick of the person that I've been. I've been sick of the person I've been for a long time now. Not that I like hate myself or anything, or that I'm like miserable all the time. Like, I think I'm a pretty even-keeled guy for the most part, man. I think I have a pretty decent life right now, but I've just always wanted more. I've always wanted so much more out of this life. I've always wanted immense success. I've always wanted joy and bliss and just total confidence in all areas of my life. I've just wanted to feel powerful, just feel like life is just this beautiful adventure that I am the creator of. Like, those are things that I've just wanted for so long, and I've never really known how to get that. I've gotten glimpses of it, I've gotten feelings of it here and there, but like this year, I just want to really create that in my life. And so, yeah, I've been doing a lot of Joe Dispenza meditations, looking within, and I did one yesterday where you close your eyes, you do the deep breathing, you do the meditation, and you think about God as a source, this infinite intelligence, and I'm paraphrasing here, obviously. It's a long meditation. It was like an hour and 15 minutes, but you basically give your problems away to God. You say, God, take my problems. I don't want them anymore. And then you send those away, and then you envision who you want to be, and you feel into the version of you that you want to be. And so I did that. And I've cried a couple times during these meditations. And yesterday, I actually shed a tear or two when I thought about this infinite intelligence, this loving, powerful source that can almost never be defined. It can't be visualized. It's just, you can't even like put it into imagery. It's just God. It's just love. It's just intelligence. This is infinite universal intelligence that I've gotten glimpses of before in the past. And it's just so amazing and so beautiful that it just brings tears to your eyes. And I envisioned that in my meditation yesterday. And it genuinely made me cry a little bit just thinking about it, looking at it. And, I want that to be my vision of God. I don't want my vision of God to be Jesus or some guy with a beard. Like, no, that's not my God. That's not who I want it to be. And, I'm not regretting that I grew up religious. I'm not regretting all the religious programming I got. But, it is frustrating because... But that's just part of being human. We all have our journeys. We all have our struggles and challenges that we go through. And those make us who we are today. So you can get mad at those all you want and say, oh, I can't believe that happened to me. It's so unfair. But it's like, well, that's your journey. Though you're learning specific things from your struggles. It's shaping you. It's challenging you. It's forcing you to grow into the person that you're meant to be. So, you could have mixed feelings about it, but I wouldn't be sitting here right now on this journey of bettering myself, becoming my best version, if it wasn't for all that religious programming that I went through, right? So I can't really fully hate on it, but I'm just kind of waking up and realizing that, my relationship with God has really not been good for a long time. And last night, as I was falling asleep, because I'm just like really obsessed with like meditating now, like. So last night, as I was falling asleep, I prayed for the first time in years. And I basically said, Dear God, thank you so much for this amazing life that I have. And I didn't talk about my life as if I was talking about my life right now. I prayed and I thank God for this life that I want, as if I already had it. So I said, thank you so much for unlimited money. Thank you so much for my ability to do whatever I want, whenever I want. Thank you that I am happy every day and that life is just flowing for me. Thank you that miracles are happening for me every day. Life is such a beautiful adventure, and I'm so grateful for it. Something along those lines. And then I said, this was something I used to say all the time when I prayed as a kid. I would end every prayer with, I love you, God, and I know you love me. Amen. And I said that last night. And it felt a little weird. It was a little kind of like cringy because it's like, oh my God, I've said that so many times as a kid, but now here I am as an adult saying it. I love you, God. I know you love me. Amen. I said that, and it was an interesting experience. I really am learning to trust God again. I want to trust God. I want to have faith that God loves me, that God is setting me up for an amazing life, that God is in my corner, that God is rooting for me. And it's I could talk all day about this stuff because life is not easy, man. Life can be the most horrific nightmare that you could ever imagine. People go through incredibly, incredibly challenging, horrible situations. And people often wonder, why? Why did this happen to me? And I'm not going to sit here and say that I have all the answers to that. I'm still discovering that. But I do think that everything is done out of ultimate love. I think that everything is done out of with the motivation to grow us and to push us forward and to inspire us to be greater. Because life, when you are on the journey of bettering yourself, when you are on the path of enlightenment and self-discovery and becoming your best version, life is really exciting and life is really fun. it gives you a reason to get out of bed in the morning, because you have something to look forward to. You have something that you're creating, and you can see changes in your life. Like, you are the beneficiary of all of your hard work. Everything that you do when it comes to bettering yourself, you reap all of those rewards, all those results that are positive. You get to enjoy. So it's really exciting. And like I said, I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for my past, and this journey that I'm on has been a lot of ups and downs, a lot of dark nights of the soul, but also a lot of amazing experiences, a lot of really high highs. And I'm just learning how to integrate it all. I'm learning how to trust God again. And I want to really grow myself and become a beacon of change, a beacon of hope, a beacon of light, so that other people can emulate what I've done and go out and do that for themselves. And I think that's the greatest gift you can give, is the gift of becoming your best self. So yeah, I just want to hop on here and record this quick video. But yeah, my relationship with God, it's been a rocky one, man, but I am diligently working every day to make it a loving one, where I feel like God and me are best friends. He's like my father, my mother, whatever you want to see it as, just a loving, unconditional loving source that is in my corner rooting for me. So I'm going to keep going down this path, and I'm going to keep documenting my results, and yeah, we'll just see what happens. So, all right, guys, I hope you're having a nice day wherever you are. Go out and smile at a stranger today. Just, give somebody a genuine compliment and make somebody feel better. And that's sending out, positive energy into the world. It's reaping good karma, and it's making the world a better place. So, all right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Take care.